It's hard to believe the next brand new Star Wars show, The Acolyte, is nearly here, recently confirmed to be released later this year on June 4th, along with a first look trailer. The road so far to the show has been pretty quiet, however. All we know for sure is we will be in for a treat right after the epic final season of The Bad Batch, which concludes in May. Lucasfilm has been very tight-lipped on The Acolyte, but let's dive into what we know so far about the series. As always as well, be sure to like and subscribe for more Star Wars content from the HoloNet Marauders. My name is Jam, and let's make the jump into the High Republic era. We first found out about The Acolyte in late 2020 at the yearly Disney Shareholder Day. Lucasfilm CEO Kathleen Kennedy unveiled the future of Star Wars with project after project being teased. One of these was The Acolyte. All we were given was a logo, the premise of the show, and the showrunner being Leslie Headland, a newcomer to Star Wars, but most notably known for the acclaimed series Russian Doll. It was reported earlier that year as well that Headland was working on an untitled Star Wars project. This ended up being The Acolyte. The series is set at the end of the High Republic era, with darkness rising in the galaxy. To get more specific with this time period, it's set roughly 100 years before the events of the Phantom Menace. While 100 years, of course, is a long time, there should still be a lot of prequel-feeling vibes in this series, and it will really mark the first time since the prequels came out that we will see many Jedi on screen at the same time. Early on as well, Headland reported that this will be a female-centric series with a female lead. For those of you unfamiliar with the High Republic era, it's essentially a golden era of the Jedi and the Galactic Republic. It wasn't all as peaceful though as you may think, as there were some major conflicts with a group known as the Nihil, who are pretty much radical space Vikings who pillage and plunder and listen to heavy metal. Seriously, they're fantastic, but they're evil. You know, that's how it goes. The High Republic was first mentioned in 2019 in an audio play, Dooku Jedi Lost by Kevin Scott. Dooku Jedi Lost actually takes place in the late High Republic era, as it's about a younger Count Dooku, while he still was a member of the Jedi Order, mixed in with some Clone Wars era moments as well. The High Republic is mentioned again in early 2020 in Charles Soule's comic run, The Rise of Kylo Ren. In February 2020, the High Republic era was officially announced by Lucasfilm as their next big publishing venture. The first works were understandably delayed due to the pandemic in 2020, and the first High Republic novel, Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule, came out in 2021. Since that time, there have been numerous works published within this era, ranging from comics to novels and multiple audio plays. The High Republic is an era where the Jedi Order was at its height. Within the stories, in-universe, and the overall production of these works, it is an incredibly open, diverse, and accepting era, across species, cultures, gender, and sexualities. The Jedi of this era are a distinctly separate entity from the Galactic Republic, but they gradually are becoming more of that single unit that we see them as in the prequel era. In 2023, the High Republic made the jump to an animated kids series on Disney Plus with Young Jedi Adventures, a series for young audiences focusing on a trio of Jedi younglings and an aspiring pilot, set during the middle of this High Republic era. We highly recommend you check out the High Republic in some fashion, whether it's the books, comics, or even just the Wikipedia page or some YouTube recaps. It's such a cool era that gives so much to the ever-expanding Star Wars galaxy. Also, by the way, Yoda was obviously around for this entire era, along with fellow ancient Jedi Oppo Rancisis, Yaddle, and a few others. The High Republic era books focus on a time about 200 to 350 years before the events of the Phantom Menace. The Acolyte is slated to take place about 100 years before the Phantom Menace, therefore, towards the end of this High Republic era, or better yet, the late High Republic. The major conflict in the books has ranged from an anti-Force cult called the Path of the Open Hand, giant vine monsters with a hive mind known as the Drengir, and these Nihil Marauders, which were born out of the Path of the Open Hand, but they have a tight control of hyperspace, and they have these terrifying creatures known as the Nameless who only target Force users. It's nuts. But as of right now, no traditional Sith have revealed themselves in these established works so far. In The Phantom Menace, the Jedi mention how there hasn't been a Sith conflict in about 1,000 years, since the days of Darth Bane. All of that was comfortably in the era of the Old Republic. We do know that the Acolyte will follow a dark side user. As of right now, we do not know the full extent of that, though. By the time of The Phantom Menace, we know that the Sith have been in hiding, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. You know, the whole thing with Palpatine being Sidious and Maul, and then Sidious and Plagueis, all of that. So maybe the upcoming Acolyte might be the lead-up to all of that. News about the Acolyte since the announcement in 2020 was initially very slim. Everything was being kept very close by Lucasfilm. On July 22nd, 2022, the first casting news dropped. Amanda Lestenberg announced that they would be playing the lead in the show. Stenberg is best known by audiences as Rue from the first Hunger Games movie from 2012. After that announcement, StarWars.com reported that the show was currently in production in the UK, and also showed the first behind-the-scenes look and further casting news in November of 2022. It was reported here that the show would be a mystery thriller that will take viewers into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark-side powers in the final days of the High Republic era. A former Padawan reunites with her Jedi Master to investigate a series of crimes, but the forces they confront are more sinister than they ever anticipated. In addition to Amanda Stenberg, the cast includes acclaimed South Korean actor Lee Jung-jae, who found recent worldwide fame through the Netflix drama Squid Game. Jung-jae is reported to be playing the Jedi Master character, most likely with Stenberg's character as his former Padawan. Additional cast includes Manny Jacinto, best known for The Good Place and Top Gun Maverick; Daphne Keane, who was previously Laura X-23 in Logan and the lead in the series His Dark Materials; Jodie Turner-Smith, previously in the series The Last Ship and the title role of Anne Boleyn in a 2020 miniseries for Channel 5. She's also slated to be in the upcoming film Tron Ares. Charlie Barnett, best known for Chicago Fire, Arrow, and Russian Doll. Dean Charles Chapman, who played the title character for Billy Elliot in the West End performance, and as Tommen Baratheon in Game of Thrones. Carrie Ann Moss, of course best known for her work as Trinity from the Matrix films, but also recently for Jerry Hogarth and Jessica Jones and additional Defender series, and the voice of Arya in the Mass Effect video game series. Rebecca Henderson, previous roles include a few projects from her spouse Leslie Headland, including Russian Doll and Single Drunk Female, but also include other roles from Westworld and voices for the GTA video game series. Most interesting, Henderson is one of the only announced castings with a named character so far, that being Vernestra Rwoh. The character Vernestra Rwoh first appeared in the High Republic book The Light of the Jedi. In that novel, she was only 16 years old, a Jedi Knight prodigy at the time. Her master was Stellan Gios, who we will not be talking about today, but look him up on Wikipedia, he's fantastic. Some spoilers within that article for sure, just you've been warned. Vernestra takes on Imri Kantaros as a Padawan very early in her path as a Jedi Knight, and her story is still ongoing within the published works. It's also established early on that Rwoh is aromantic and not interested in romance with others. Rwoh is the near-human species Mirialan, like Master Luminara, Sinara San, Barriss Offee. Previously, there was not much information about the lifespan of Mirialans. It was assumed that they would be the same as humans. Based on the events known so far, however, Vernestra and the Acolyte will be at least 100 plus years old. 116 plus, maybe? I'm not sure. Something like that. Which definitely exceeds the average human lifespan, so some new lore about Mirialans. At Star Wars Celebration Europe 2023, we received a first look finally. A panel, complete with a trailer, was shown to audiences at Celebration, and showrunner Leslie Headland and the cast of the show was in attendance. Additionally, at Celebration, it was announced that Star Wars fan favorite Jonas Suotamo, who portrayed Chewbacca in the sequel trilogy and Solo, would be returning as a Wookiee, but this time a Wookiee Jedi Master named Kelnaka. The cast lit up the stage at Celebration, Amanda Stenberg wearing their own Padme Amidala cosplay for the event. A huge fan of Star Wars through and through. Which brings us back to today. A first official trailer was posted March 19th, 2024. We received the first official look at the show, some really sick posters, and of course a release date, June 4th, 2024. We cannot wait to see what the end of the High Republic has in store for us.